Before yesterday's drip marketing on Fate's Day Night collab, I was dead sure the collab characters would fall under the Remembrance path. That's why I went all in on Sunday's banner, and then skipped every new character in version 3 all the way up to the collab banner. I was betting everything on the assumption that they'd be Remembrance characters, making Sunday their best possible support. I mean, why wouldn't I think that? Remembrance is the only logical path if we're going for a lore-accurate interpretation. In Nasuverse, servants, or heroic spirits, are essentially data or memories of historical figures stored in a massive archive called the Throne of Heroes. During the Holy Grail War, masters triggered the loading process of the data of their preferred heroic spirits to fight alongside them using a catalyst. Once loaded, the master supplies them with mana to give them a physical form in the world.
を召喚するというのに、こんな単純な儀式で構わないの？
拍子抜けかもしれないけどね。サーバントの召喚にはそれほど大掛かりな号令は必要ないんだ。実際にサーバントを招き寄せるのは聖杯だからね。僕はマスターとして現れた英霊をこちら側の世界につなぎ止め、実体化できるだけの魔力を供給しさえすればいい。
So, since their true essence is literally a collective memory, if they were imported into Honkai Star Rail, they'd fit perfectly into the Remembrance path. I was expecting something like playable Shiro Emiya or Rin, who has the ability to summon their respective servants in Fate's Day Night. But now that we know how they've handled the collab, I totally understand why they chose to turn Artoria and Emiya into standalone characters. In fact, it might even be better this way, actually. Let me explain. While making them Remembrance characters would be more lore accurate, I'll admit that it won't be nearly as appealing as having them as standalone units. Their movesets would likely be limited, and their presence in battle would depend entirely on the active character's ability downtime. The summoning mechanic of Remembrance characters might be good enough for the likes of Aglia or Castoris, but it definitely lacks the impact for this collab. At the end of the day, the servants are the main attraction of the Fate series, so the best way to showcase and sell them is by letting them shine on their own. However, this approach does open up one massive question. How are they being summoned? As I mentioned earlier, the memories of heroic spirits are stored in the Throne of Heroes, a concept that only exists in the Nasuverse. So, unless Penacony is somehow connected to Akasha, and the people there have their own version of King Arthur legend, summoning Artoria should be impossible. I once came up with a theory that connects Amphorius to the Nasuverse through the Vortex of Genesis, but nothing in Penacony so far seems capable of bridging both universes. At one point, I even considered the possibility that these servants aren't actually the same ones from Fate's Day Night. I remember the announcement referred to them as historical celebrities, not historical heroes. So maybe they're Penaconian characters instead? Some people criticized the design changes, saying the characters look too much like idols. If they are Penacony's own version of historical celebrities, that would explain the idol aesthetics. Plus, the fact that they're introduced as just Saber and Archer, instead of Artoria and Emiya, might suggest those aren't even their real names. But then, I went back and reread the lore section in their Twitter post, and things got even more confusing. They explicitly reference the King Arthur legend. That basically confirms that Saber is Artoria. And it also says she has heeded the call for a Holy Grail war, which implies someone actually summoned her. So now I'm left wondering, is she Artoria? Or a Penacony-born idol based on King Arthur? Or somehow both? I really hope they give us a logical explanation for the summoning ritual in this Penaconian Holy Grail war. Please, no random aspels. With Kinoko Nasu supervising the story, I expect at least a coherent connection. There has to be a deeper explanation behind this Penaconian Holy Grail war. Is there a hidden system that mimics the Throne of Heroes? Or maybe someone in Penacony found a way to tap into myths across the multiverse. But that's just my take. What do you guys think? Do you have any theories on how these servants are being summoned into Honkai Star Rail? Let me know in the comments below.